What were the terms of the Treaty of Versailles that ended World War I? The Treaty of Versailles. Explain the major decisions made in the Versailles Treaty. Include German reparations and the mandate system that replaced Ottoman control. World War I was fought between the Allies and Central Powers from 1914 to 1918. On November 11, 1918, the German government agreed to an armistice, and World War I came to an end. World War I was the largest, most deadly, and most destructive war the world had yet seen. 8.5 million soldiers and 13 million civilians died as a result of the war. $21 million soldiers were wounded during the war. Homes, farms, towns were destroyed. The war cost $338 billion, and most national treasuries were empty. In 1919, representatives from 32 nations attended the Paris Peace Conference to write a treaty to end the war. The conference was led by the Big Four: Britain, France, Italy, and the United States. Neither Germany nor any of the Central Powers were allowed to attend. Russia could not attend because they already quit World War I. Creating a treaty would not be easy because the major powers had different agendas. Britain and France wanted to weaken Germany so it could never go to war again. Britain and France wanted Germany to accept full blame, pay reparations, and lose all overseas colonies. U.S. President Woodrow Wilson disagreed with these harsh punishments for Germany. President Wilson presented his own peace proposal known as the 14 Points. Points 1 through 5, Wilson hoped to eliminate the causes of World War I and called for an end to secret treaties or alliances, freedom of the seas, eliminating imperial colonies, and reducing national militaries. Points 6 through 13, Wilson suggested changing national boundaries, creating new nations, and allowing self-determination so that the people of each nation could decide their own form of government. Point 14, Wilson wanted a League of Nations. The League of Nations would give all nations an opportunity to work out their grievances without resorting to war. Wilson hoped that a League of Nations could peacefully negotiate solutions to future conflicts. Britain and France disagreed with many of the 14 points, so Woodrow Wilson had to compromise. These compromises led to an agreement known as the Treaty of Versailles. The major provisions of the Versailles Treaty included a League of Nations that would serve as an international organization to keep peace among nations, the League Covenant included an agreement that all member nations would work together to stop future acts of aggression. The League also included a court of international justice to settle disagreements. Germany had to give up land in Europe and all of its overseas colonies. The German military was reduced to just 100,000 troops, 6 warships, no submarines, and could not manufacture war equipment. Germany was forced to sign the War Guilt Clause, accepting all blame for the war, and they had to pay $33 billion in reparations to the Allies. In addition, the Treaty of Versailles redrew the map of Europe and the Middle East. Central Europe was redrawn to reduce the power of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Land was taken from Germany to create Poland. The German-French border was demilitarized to avoid a future invasion. New nations were created from territories that Russia gave up when it left the war early. Ottoman Empire was divided. Britain and France gained mandates in the Middle East. These mandates gave Britain and France control over oil resources in the Middle East. On June 28, 1919, Germany and the major Allied powers signed the Treaty of Versailles, and World War I officially came to an end. Most nations celebrated the official end of World War I. But Germans protested the harsh terms and resented their government for signing the treaty. In the United States, reactions to the Treaty of Versailles were mixed. According to the U.S. Constitution, only the Senate can approve treaties. Many senators feared that signing the treaty and joining the League would force America to become involved in future wars. As a result, the USA never signed the treaty or joined the League of Nations. World War I was the largest war the world had yet seen, and it changed the way future wars were fought. Nations used total war tactics to commit all their resources to winning, drafted soldiers, rationed, and used propaganda. New war technologies increased the rates of death and destruction to unprecedented levels. The war changed expectations for women and led to voting rights for women in many nations. "22 million soldiers and civilians died in the war. An entire generation of Europeans was killed. Many places in Europe were destroyed. The war devastated the economies of European nations who had little money to rebuild and few jobs to offer citizens. The Treaty of Versailles was said to be a peace built on quicksand. The treaty did not address the main causes of World War I: militarism, alliances, imperialism, and nationalism. The League of Nations did not include the USA, and its leaders would do anything to avoid another war. High unemployment and desire for revenge would lead to aggressive dictators in the 1920s and 1930s.